Right? The aging process, some of you are living with people right now who are having to look in a mirror and realize aging is, oh no. Has the thought occurred to you that they then look from out of their mirror at you? And in that moment, there's like this insight. Ooh, I'm getting older because I don't look like that young anymore. Why do you think so many people want to look younger? Is it afraid of death? Is that what it is? They're afraid of dying. Aging equals dying. If I can just start looking younger, what? I don't have to be afraid of death? But it's the fountain of youth. Everyone wants to find the fountain of youth. Why does everyone want to look younger? What do you think, Annie? Why?
I don't know.
How about self-esteem? It will make me feel better about myself. Good idea, bad idea? Why, Miss Sin? Because it's a facade?
Because it's just like what other people are like doing. It's not like for you kind of thing.
Or maybe it's the way that other people see you. Like when other people see you old, it's like
I think everybody's always concerned with what other people think of them, though, so when they start getting older.
Can we live our lives without being concerned about what other people think of us? I mean, granted, obviously, we are all familiar with what middle school meant. Oh, good heavens. Whatever I look like, and everyone is looking at me. Everyone is looking at me. I understand that at middle school. And of course, to some degree, we still possess this thing in high school, right? We're kind of starting to kind of, oh yeah, there's a big world out there with lots of people. Really, nobody cares what I look like, right? Okay, that's kind of, we're getting there. Do you think, though, for the rest of your life, you measure how other people see you as being central to how you see yourself?
maybe on a deeper level. It becomes less of, oh, they see me as like ugly, and more maybe on the level of they see me as a person who's dying. They see me as old and worthless.
I'm getting old, which means I'm getting useless.
I mean, retirement, that kind of stuff. I think that was my grandpa's biggest fear, was retirement, feeling like he was useless, like he didn't have a purpose anymore. He wasn't contributing.
What is it that the old fart Ulysses says? How dull it is to pause, to make an end, to rust unburnished, not to shine in use, as though to breathe for life. Life piled on life, we're all too little. And of one to me, he's an old fart. Little remains. Do you think it's a curse that we don't spend more time with the really old people? The people who are really old. Do you think that's a bad thing that we don't spend more time with them?
Maybe, yeah. Well,
In earlier generations, young people had to spend lots of time with old people, right? Because there weren't hospitals and places where you went to die. People died in their home. And some kid got to watch that happen. Are you happy for Faust or sad for Faust at the end? Mr. Schreiber seems to suggest, and you got to be kind of happy for the cat. I mean, he finally gets it.
Does he actually understand what he's got?
It's a good question. Does he really understand it? What do we really ever really understand?
Like you said, you can't. Most of the time, you can't qualify something as it happens.
Do you think it's true, Mr. Kelleher, the only real things, it's so cliche-ish, but do you think it's true the only things you really understand and value are the things you've lost? It's like you really don't know how valuable something is until it goes away. And then you're like, oh, wow, that was like way important.
Kind of, but you can almost qualify like every experience as being lost because you're not going to have the same experience.
Never. There's never really any future. Right? There's never really any future. It's always the present. Correct? Then you have one more present. Then you have one more present. We think of it as the future, but it never actually gets here. All we ever have is the present. In the present moment, can you ever actually know you're happy? Or does this poem suggest happy is not contentment, not satisfaction? The one problem for Faust is that he's never really wanted to say, "Stay, moment, thou art so fair." When you're finally content, that's boredom. So what is it? What's the secret in life? Is it to get to where you're content, or to work all your life to never be content? Always be pushing, well, what is it? Tennyson says in Ulysses, "As though to breathe were life, life piled on life were all too little, and of one to me little remains, but every hour is saved from that eternal silence something more, a bringer of new things and violet, were for some 3 sons to store and hoard myself in this gray spirit, yearning in desire to follow knowledge like a sinking star beyond the utmost bounds of human thought." You never are content. You're always pushing. You're always going. So which is it? Do you live your life to be content? To finally be happy?
Excuse interruption, just a reminder, when the bell rings, all faculty
Thanks, guys.